Okay. Hello and welcome to another video. As usual, my name is Jeffrey. This is the Inquisitive Universe, and today I want to talk about smartphone performance. What is smartphone performance? Let's get started. Okay, so smartphone performance can be defined as what? Okay, how do I put this now? Okay, let's define smartphone thus, right? Smartphone performance can be defined as how well your smartphone does the stuff that it is expected to do. Let's put it like that. Smartphone performance, how well your smartphone can do the stuff that you want it to do, right? Because people buy phones for different reasons. Some people buy phones to play games. When you buy a phone to play a game, for example, when you buy a phone to play football, for example, because that's the one that gets the most. When you buy a phone to play football, for example, and then you find out that, the phone is lagging seriously whilst playing the game. You can play a pass now to a player and it will take forever for the pass to move, and then your opponent just cuts in, and your players are dragging through the mud whilst your opponent's players, they are on unicorns, they are flying, right? And then to make matters worse, when you go online, it's even worse. Or to just destroy this whole table, let's just destroy this whole table. You buy a phone to play football, and then you go on Play Store, and then Play Store tells you, sorry, your device is not supported. And then you are like, you know what? Screw Play Store. And then you go side load it. At least we're still allowed to do that on Android now, before Android turns to Androids. Right? I'm going to put it on the screen so you see it, before it turns to Androids. So you try to side load it, and then error passing this package, could not install. Your phone cannot perform the task that you expect it to perform. That's what we mean by smartphone performance. It's not just about games, because there are many people who are going to be thinking about, why would you play games on your smartphone? Well, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You move on. Let's go to the realms of social media now. Let's enter social media, and then you buy a phone with a Helio G37 T606, for example, and then you want to run Snapchat, for example, or you want to run X. You're on X and people are on a what's the word they call it now? I think there's a word they call that stuff. I'm trying to remember it. I can't. And when you're on Twitter, and then like this general town hall meeting, and then you're trying to get in, you can't join in. And even when you manage to join in, you can't. You press your mic that you want to talk, and then your phone shuts down and then goes back to home screen. Or you can't load. Your phone cannot install Snapchat. Or on Facebook, you use Facebook up to an extent, the phone starts to heat up, and then Facebook cuts out, and then you go back to your home page, or the phone just basically restarts. Some of us have been there. If you are the type of person that you can afford the flagship, you don't need to be watching this video. I'm serious, you don't need to be watching this video, because all of this stuff I'm saying now, they'll be alien to you. Because when you buy a flagship, I'll get to that anyway. Smartphone performance, right? Like, these things happen. Okay, your workplace, right? This one has happened a lot that I have seen, right? Because I work remotely, and then like, it's time for a meeting. Let's get on a meeting. Let's get on a weekly Zoom meeting, so that everybody will come and drop reports, and then talk about challenges that you are facing. Okay, Zoom meeting does start to. That's when you see. Sorry, Mr. X, we can't hear you. I can't hear you either. People have finished talking about a certain topic and have moved on. That's when somebody will not be coming from the back. Some persons, their phone, those are the people that their phones can even load Zoom. There's some people, they'll just tell you, my phone does not accept Zoom. I am not kidding you, it's true. They just tell you, my phone cannot accept Zoom, or when I buy a better phone. Their phones cannot. In this age that we are in this age of the internet, interconnectivity, some people, their phones cannot perform the simple task of running Zoom or even Google Meets. There's a guy I work for, right? And he's always like, can you jump on a Google Meet meeting? I hope you're with your PC, because I want to share my screen. And I'm like, don't worry, I don't need my PC, I'm on my phone. Like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. Share whatever you want to share, I can see it from here. Like, wow, your phone can do all that. I'm like, yes. Smartphones are expected to do all that. Many people walk around and they don't know the performance that their smartphones are capable of. Again, smartphone performance, how a phone is able to perform the tasks that it can do. So I don't know if you're at this point. I think we should start to be understanding each other now when it comes to smartphone performance. How well does your phone perform the task that it is expected to do? So this is where we now start to get a little bit technical. The SoC. Smartphone performance is tied to the SoC that is on board. And this is why, for me, I know many people have different choices when it comes to smartphones. There are people who want a phone, there are people who want a power bank that can make calls, a transformer that can make calls with 10 days, charge once, use for the next 10. If I use for the next 1 month, because they're always on the move, they're business people, they only just make calls and then they drop their phone and they never pick it up again unless they have another call to make. There are people like that. There are people who are looking for camera-centric phones. They just want to snap. But again, all of these things, because when we start talking about SoCs and performance, like, no, when I just did the play game with your phone. Why people playing games with your phone? Means only if a phone has a good camera, I'm okay. If my phone can last me 2 days on a single charge, I'm okay. But a lot of this is, especially the camera part, is tied to the SoC on board. Now, the SoC, the processor on board, is what helps you do all of these things. The SoC is what handles calls. It's what handles the apps and the games and the Google Meets and the Zooms. It's what handles the social media. It's what handles your camera. Because in today's day and age, right? Smartphone photography is not entirely reliant on the sensors, camera sensors on the back anymore. In fact, dare I say 60% of the work is done by the SoC on board with the ISP and the AI. And that would then take me to artificial intelligence. A lot of stuff that we do on our phones nowadays is usually done by the AI and machine learning block on board, because it's now a big deal now. All of these things are tied with the SoC. So if you know the quality or the caliber, I've done videos about this before. If you know the quality and the caliber of the SoC on your phone, it will help you in a long way understand. It will go a long way to help you understand what performance your smartphone is capable of. And this is something that a lot of people overlook. And this is why companies scam them. This is why YouTubers scam them. And it's actually quite sad. Somebody messaged me from the Philippines and said, hey, look at this video. This is what one of our YouTubers here said. Because I have been following your blog on smartphone SoCs and stuff. And then there's this YouTuber here advertising for a company, I don't want to mention the name, that have a phone that looks like Samsung's own. And then they said that the processor there is on the level of the 720G. That the T616 is on the level of the 720G. And I'm like, bro, your YouTuber is a sellout. There is no way the T616 can perform as well as the Snapdragon 720G. Quote me anywhere. And we had this kind of little back and forth. But then we just let the matter die. There was really no point getting heated over it. Because the guy was interested in the phone, but he wanted to hear my opinion, and my opinion was not what he was expecting. Right? So smartphone performance. All smartphones do not perform equally. If that wasn't clear, if all the stuff I've been saying didn't make that clear, I think this one should make it clear. Smartphone performance is not equal. All smartphones do not perform the same way. And that's why the topic of smartphone performance is even coming up in the first place, right? Because we've got entry level, we've got mid-range, and mid-range is divided into several groups. Mid-range is not mid-range. And then you've got flagship. Now, when you're picking up an entry-level phone, what you're expecting is that this phone can help me make calls and do WhatsApp and light social media stuff. Just connecting with people, light social media. Take some pictures in bright lights, not in darkness, in very bright lights, like something that is shining on my face here. Without that, anything more than that, okay, Candy Crush. What Candy Crush cannot play or cannot run on many entry-level phones these days. So, I'm serious now. Cannot. So when you have an entry-level phone, that's what you should be expecting. Okay? When you move up to mid-range, then you then have budget, lower mid-range, middle mid-range, if I allow me to coin the term, upper mid-range, premium mid-range. Yeah, I see the mid-range has steps. When you get a budget phone, you can play most games at low settings, right? When you get a budget phone, That's how the phone will perform. Most games at low setting, you can get this way, you start getting the full version of apps, full version of Facebook, maybe Instagram, I'm not very sure, stuff like that. But this is like you start to see small improvements in camera performance. When you head up, when you go to the lower mid-range, things get better from there. And now you can now start playing games at mid to low settings. Usually mid. Some phones or some processors, some phones will perform at high settings for some games like eFootball and PUBG and so on and so forth. But again, you will be better served if you keep settings at mid settings. And then camera performance is improved a bit, and things get better from there. And then you then move on to standard mid-range, normal mid-range, the middle mid-range, where everything is good. And that's where you now start seeing like phones like, for example, the Redmi Note 12 Pro 4G, for example, right? Redmi Note 12 Pro 4G. That's where you see phones like, say, the Infinix Hot 30 Pro 5G, for example, that level of performance, right? Then you start getting there. That's the Snapdragon 732G, Helio G99, and so on and so forth. That's middle mid-range performance, everything. Like this is like the standard middle point. You can never go wrong here. Then when you move up, you start to get better stuff. When you go to the upper mid-range and the premium mid-range, that's where you now see the ability to be able to play at high settings, right? The ability to be able to take like very, very good pictures. The ability to be able to run Zoom and Google Meets and all those bells and whistles and stuff, open two apps at once side by side, to be able to have several profiles on the phone that you can sign in. You can sign into one profile and then sign out as though you're on a PC. And then I think once upon a time it was a very big deal, second space on Redmi phones, where you can like sign out and then sign into the second space, and then people will be like, this guy, you don't have apps. So meanwhile your real profile is hidden somewhere in the phone, and then you can then switch back out. Second space was a huge deal once upon a time on Xiaomi's upper mid-range devices. Then that one is another one. When you get out of there, then you move up to the flagship killer and the flagship segment. That's where you get the best of everything, the latest of everything, and that's where you get the best performance. The best everything is there. So when it comes to smartphone performance, it is important that you know that all smartphones are not the same. So you should be able to understand that this is what this phone can do, this is what this phone cannot do. But if I were to upgrade to this level, then this phone can do this, and then maybe do some of that and some of that. But I don't know if you're getting the point right now. Smartphone performance is key, because many people come to me for smartphone advice and say, hey Jeff, I want this phone, I want that phone. And I ask them, what do you expect in terms of performance? Because most people will come to you and say, I have a 100k budget, I want a phone that can do this. And I'm like, for that one, you are expecting a 200k phone, adjusting for inflation, for your 100k budget. And they're like, some of them have even told me to my face that, bro, you don't know smartphones. Let me go and meet my plug. My plug will tell me, will give me good stuff, not this one you are saying. Then some other people have called me an elitist. I'm not kidding, they've called me an elitist because they'll be like, I want to play PUBG, I want to play football, I want 6 gig RAM, I want to be able to take like very good pictures, I want my phone to be able to take very captivating pictures at night because I've seen some of your photos. And I'm like, if you want something like that, be ready to cough up 200k, 230k. I'm like, everybody not get money like you. I'm like, we have to get money. Where did you see me with money? We should know this stuff, right? I'm tailing off now because the video is already over, right? I'm going to be doing a second one that is going to be a lot more technical than this one, but this one will gauge if I should go on that way. But that's it for smartphone performance. What your smartphone can do and what it cannot do. That's what we call smartphone performance, and a lot of it is tied to the SoC on board. So tell me what you think, what you know about this topic, and if you want me to go more on this. I want this one to be the start of a series where the next video is going to be more technical terms of how to judge, how to look at a smartphone and say it's going to perform like this or it's going to perform like that. How to look at a smartphone and then judge how it's going to perform. And then we're going to talk about SoCs, how to compare SoCs. Very, very important stuff too. How to have two SoCs side by side and then compare them. That's another thing that I want us to look at. But again, it's up to you, the viewer. If you guys want to see me talk about that stuff, then I'm absolutely going to do it. If I don't really get any feedback, then I'll tail off and then I'll start pushing other projects. So with that, we'll come to the end of this video. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Jeffrey. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next one.